Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Hey, Joe. Joe's with us in the booth. And he's actually on screen today.
Just wanted to welcome everybody into the Pats Nation.
Don't go anywhere. That's Joe, everybody. So make sure you get on YouTube so you can see what Joe actually looks like. And write us. Make sure you give us a call and heated hotline 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. You can let us know. Is that what we really thought Joe looked like? Does he actually match his voice, Or send us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. But everybody's welcoming us in the nation, watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and, of course, 790 The Score. Hey, we got a good one. Going to go into Coach's Corner. We got a lot of fun things to talk about there, don't we, Mike?
Jesus. Yeah, you think?
And then Weekly Rewind. They cut down the roster. We're ready to go. We got our players. We got our quarterback. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to go in Pat's preview. We're going to talk about a little bit about, let's see. Let's tease that. And you see what we're going to talk about in Pat's preview. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
I'm doing wonderful, Chris. It's football season. We're ready to open up. And listen, how excited are you for this season? Right?
I could tell. You're right. I was excited to start the show. Now you want to ask me if I'm excited about the season? I don't think there's been this level of despair since 91? I said this yesterday on Corso and Catone.
Yeah, I think
it was like
bad.
91, 92.
Yeah, it's bad. It's pretty bad.
So
I don't know anybody in New England, Chris, that's excited for the season. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, you hear my voice right now, how hoarse it is?
If you're excited for the season, they're going to call in, Chris, and tell us why.
Yeah.
They have to tell us why on Heated Hotline. Why are you excited?
Talk us in.
Yes, exactly.
Talk us in. Because my voice is hoarse because I was staring at those banners last night just going, just screaming like a maniac.
What, Joe? What was that? Shut Joe.
You're going to have to change Heated Hotline to Hopeful Hotline.
Yeah.
All in with any hope that they win a game.
Yeah. Oh, horrendous. So, but listen, we've got a lot to talk about. We want to start with Coach's Corner. And, Joe, we ready?
We are.
Let's go. Coach's Corner. Every time I see that wash, okay, for those of you on 790,
you have to go on YouTube and watch it.
Yesterday, Corso and Catone, our what was it? Pat's Misfits? Wasn't that the name of the
Band of Misfits?
Band of Misfits. Well, when you look at that wash for Coach's Corner, talk about misfits. Mark.
Who are they? I still don't know.
Who the hell are
they?
You got one with the kid and play haircut. You got, I don't know who the hell these guys are. But
Bob Kraft, the owner, said, we have so many new people. I don't even know who they are.
I don't even know who they are, he said.
He said he didn't know who they were.
What the hell is that? So, but we do know who one of them is, and that's Gerard Mayo. And so, Mark, let's just we'll get to the roster and we'll get to all this stuff. And
where do we begin with Gerard Mayo?
Well, I mean, okay, Jacoby Brissett has been named the starting quarterback. You and I are not surprised by this. We thought it was the right decision. We think it was made for the wrong reasons, but we still think it's the right decisions. But Mark, this guy, the back, the forth, the confusion, the contradictions in his press conferences. First of all, this dude just doesn't know how to command the room. He doesn't know how to command the media. He's talking out of two sides of his ass all the time.
Oh, language.
What?
Family show.
No. As in
family
horses.
Show, Joe.
But he is, Mark. He is.
Yeah. No, he is.
I mean, what do you make of this guy right now? I already had 3 strikes in the preseason, 3 strikes against them. But starting from the spring, I mean, what?
Well, first of all, they signed Jacoby Brissett, Chris, and he said when he was signed, what did they have? 1 mini camp? Well, he's our, Jacoby's our starter. He's our number one. He's our number one. That's why we brought him in. And You anointed him before anything. So first of all, that should have never been said, right? That they anointed him before anything even started, Chris. And then once things got going, he kept talking about it's a competition. When has May ever really had any snaps, Chris? Extended snaps with the ones? I don't think he has all summer.
No.
So how is it a competition?
It wasn't. It wasn't a competition. I mean, the guy, like I said, he comes in, he's our starter. Then he criticizes Mac Jones not Mac Jones, Drake May.
You keep saying you love Mac Jones.
God, man. Drake May by saying, well, he's got to like grab hold of it. Well, how are you going to grab hold of it if you come out and say he's our starter? Jacoby's a
You're talking about Brissett. Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to Drake May is going to grab a hold of what? He's going to grab hold of the backup spot. But he goes back and forth and back and forth. And in the preseason game against the Commanders, in his post game, he said this.
Jacoby suffered an injury tonight. I think it just raises the possibility that if he's the starter week one, that could happen in the regular season. Would Drake May play if Jacoby's unavailable?
I would like to sit here and say 100% he's our second best quarterback on our roster right now.
But, so is that a yes or?
Next question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure until I watch the film.
Okay. So, yeah. So he's asked, right? He's asked if Brissett gets hurt, if he's hurt because he hurt his shoulder in the game, is Drake May going to be, Drake May come and play? Well, he's our second best quarterback.
He's 100% our second best quarterback.
100% our second best quarterback.
So he says so he'll be the quarterback if Jacoby goes down. Well, I don't know. I got to watch the film. What is he talking about, Chris?
That's fine. Okay. That's fine. He wants to say that, right? He's our second best quarterback, all that.
Yeah, but then he said, I have to watch the film to see if he'll start.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's back and forth in his own one press conference. But then it gets worse. 12 hours later, this is what he says.
Yeah, look, let's talk about the injury first. Like, I don't know. Jacoby may come in here today. We got in at 4 o'clock in the morning. May come in today saying, his shoulder is no good. Or, so I'm not going to get too far down the road on if Jacoby could play or couldn't play. What I will say is that this is a true competition. It wasn't fluff or anything like that. It's a true competition. And I would say at this current point, Drake has outplayed Jacoby. Now in saying that, we have to take in the full body of work, going all the way back to the spring and the beginning of training camp, and we'll see where we end up. But those are the conversations that will happen here over the next couple of days.
Mark, listening
to this a few times now, Chris, I have a new theory. Is he saying that Drake outplayed Jacoby because that's what the players saw? So he has to almost validate the locker room and say, yeah, I saw the tape. I saw it. I saw exactly what you saw. Drake outplayed him. However, there's other things we got to take the whole body of work. And like, is that like acknowledging the players in the locker room, Chris? Yeah, Drake outplayed him. However, that's not there's other factors we also have to take into consideration, because I've heard this now several times. So now I'm thinking a new take is, did he do that for the players, Chris? I don't know. Like, we're criticizing him. He don't know what the heck he's talking about. But was that strategic? Like, did he draw it out?
Why though? Why do you need to say all this stuff? If you had a plan from the beginning for Drake May, and it was going to be, he wasn't going to play, he wasn't going to start until somewhere down the line, whatever it is, what the hell do you need to come to the press and go back and forth like this? Talking about competition. Look, you haven't been doing this long enough to play the psychologist for Jacoby Brissett, to light a fire under his ass, like is what we thought was happening when he said all this stuff about the competition. You ain't been doing this long enough to do that. And if they are going to do that, don't try to use the press, because you end up looking like a buffoon, which is what he looks like right now. He looks like
Chris, you don't think he said that for the players' purposes?
I don't know. Who knows? He may have, but he makes himself look so foolish by going back and forth like this. You now lose command of everything.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think this was his decision. Not one bit. Not one bit do I think.
So
this was
whose
his
decision was it? Was it Kraft's? Whose decision was it?
for to play Brissett?
Yeah.
This is Alex Van Pelt's decision.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now, maybe the plan was the plan all along. Okay. But when they saw Drake May in spring, I think they all were taken back by, geez, we thought it'd be further along than this. And I think that's when the plan was made, right? So,
yep.
But then he started playing better. So to Alex Van Pelt's credit, I will say he brought him along, and Drake May looks night and day better. He's a quarterback coach, Mark. He's not a friggin'
Chris, do you know who nobody in the media is talking about? And he was brought here because he does know how to develop quarterbacks. Is Ben McAdoo.
So you think McAdoo's got
Chris? No, Chris. He does. That was his forte. He's not a head coach. He stinks as a head coach. He's not a good offensive coordinator. But his forte, the reason they brought him here, allegedly, is he knows how to develop a quarterback. He works well with quarterbacks. He might be helping Drake behind the scenes.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Because there was a rapid, Chris, development between the beginning of July, beginning of August, I'm sorry, end of July, beginning of August, and now.
Yeah.
Rapid development.
It is. And so I'll give Alex Van Pelt some credit there. But to be able to run this offense, look, this is Alex Van Pelt's decision, Mark. You boy have both said this because he's not capable of being. He's not McDaniels. He's not slow. He can't take a rookie quarterback, put him on the field, put a new offense in, call plays like he's never done before, and rely on a veteran quarterback on the field to clean up some of his mistakes from the sideline. He ain't good enough to do that. That's why he wanted Brissett, because he's a better quarterback. It's because he's not as good of an OC, and I'm not sure if he should be running.
So
this
you're saying he's got Brissett out there over May because Brissett can navigate some of those things because he's a veteran, so he doesn't have to navigate them for him because he's not capable of doing everything at once.
Self-preservation, and who else thinks this, and said it in no emphatic terms this week, or very emphatic he was in no certain terms, was Mike Lombardi. Joe, can we play that?
What blew me away more than Drake May, more than Brissett's shoulder injury, is Mayo admitting that the head coach of the offense, the head coach of a $9 billion organization, $9 billion. And if Kraft puts it up for sale, he's going to want $9 billion. The man in charge of the offense is Alex Van Pelt. I mean, that would be like Xerox hiring some middle-level manager to come on and say, okay, why don't you just run Xerox? It only the NFL. I mean, what is Mayo doing if he's not in charge of the offense, defense, and the kicking game? Like, are we that collaborative? And then you're telling me we're going to develop Drake May because we've got Alex Van Pelt who got fired in Cleveland because he couldn't get Deshaun Watson to play good? And I'm not trying to say Alex Van Pelt's not a bad coach. I really don't know, but I know this. If it's worth $9 billion, I'm not letting Alex Van Pelt run the team. I can promise you that. I'm just not doing that.
And I'm not saying he's not a good. It's exactly what you're saying. I'm not saying he's not a bad coach. No, that's what you Xerox. No, Mark. He's talking about Xerox. He's more of a dinosaur than you.
Xerox, I know. Oh my God, Xerox. Listen,
it's what we've been saying all along.
But where did Lombardi get that from, Chris? Was that Lombardi talking?
That come right from Bill. That came right from Bill. Because then he talks about Jonathan Kraft. Then he talks about, in another interview, he said something about, they were asking him about Drake May. He completely went off script and said, I know it was Jonathan Kraft that won all those rings. He said, I know it was him, and Bill was just making pizzas in the North End or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And then didn't he say something about Mayo, making like 2 jumps to be a head, like basically saying he's not ready to be a head coach. He said he wasn't even calling defensive plays.
Right.
So it's telling you the son and Bill were calling the plays.
And we've been saying that all along. We're not even sure. Last week we said it. We're not even sure if Mayo was even the DC.
Well, now, according to Lombardi, he wasn't calling plays.
This is dysfunction. Talk about collection of misfits. The Island of Misfit Toys, right? You said last week or whatever. Talk about collection of misfits, Mark. I mean, and Mayo is not commanding this entire situation. well.
No, it's not a bad. It's a bad look, Chris. It is a bad look because he is going back and forth. It said things he shouldn't be saying to the press. And listen, Van Pelt, Chris, last week basically said, Brissett is our guy. Like he said it. He said May's has made a lot of strides, but Jacoby's our guy. Like, May said it last week.
Nobody's on the same page. God help us all when the games begin and the in-game management stuff starts. Listen to us then and let us know what you think in Heated Hotline. But Coach's Corner was presented by Corso and Catone, Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. Hey, we got it all. We got Catone's comments, Yankees, Red Sox, and anything you guys bring to the table. But, hey, when we come back, we're going to go back in the week, weekly rewind, all that and more. No flipping. The real deal New England field. What does that mean? We're like you. We're going to bitch about everything.
My opinion, our draft, the good, the bad, it was ugly.
These people, Mark, drive me freaking insane. Bananas.
It's so frustrating and aggravating. I can't take it.
The real deal New England field. It's going to be real. Back into the Pats Nation. Okay, Mark, got to go back in the week. They cut down the roster. They did a lot of different things. We already talked about the coaches. Now let's talk about the team, and let's do it in Weekly Rewind. Joe? I'm going back through the week. About a weekly rewind. Okay, Mark, so they got cut down to 53 or built up to 53 this week, right? I mean, when's the last time you said that about the New England Patriots?
Chris, please.
That they had to find 53 guys.
And I don't know if they really found 53 guys either.
No, not in the true sense of the word.
No.
I don't think. But nevertheless, we got our 53. We've already talked about the coaches, the deficiencies, but now let's get into the roster, okay? And let's start with the offense. And yesterday on Corso and Catone, we did a couple of positions we talked briefly about, but I want to elaborate on some of this now, okay? Let's talk about the key positions. We've already talked quarterback, the decisions made. You and I agree on Brissett. It's not a permanent thing. I don't think he's as good as Drake May, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Okay, Now, based on Brissett, let's get into the wide receiver room. And to reset, here's what we have. We have Osborne. We have Pop Douglas. We have Polk. We have Baker. We have Thornton. We've got Butte. Rieger has been cut, but then put back onto the practice squad. Bourne's on the PUP list at least 4 weeks. We think more. Go.
Yeah. Well, so the wide receiver room, Chris, I believe has potential with Polk, Douglas, Baker. I think Baker has, I know he dropped passes, he dropped some balls, Chris, but he has the ability to get open and get separation. Is he as fast as Tyquan Thornton? No, but I think Baker has game speed where Thornton has pure speed. There's a difference, and Baker will get open, Chris. And I think KJ Osborne shows up in spots. He'll be a solid 3-4 receiver. I'm interested to see, Chris, what the young guys do. Douglas, Polk, and Baker, if you give Baker a significant amount of time on the field with the other two. Tyquan Thornton, Chris, I don't think he's going to – I don't know how they got him out there with the ones. I just don't get what they're seeing in him. I still don't see it, but my prediction is he'll be probably banged up and not playing by week 4. He'll be hurt. He'll have some kind of an injury by week 4, and maybe that opens up the door for Butte to get some playing time because every time he's on the field, he makes plays. But I do think this wide receiver room, Chris, specifically Polk and Baker, play better when May's on the field because May has a connection to Baker and Polk. The rookies connect to him more so than Brissett. That's been the appearance, Chris.
A couple of things with that, and that goes back to our draft analysis of Polk and Baker, is the catch radius.
Yeah.
The reason they play good, and we thought this would happen, because Drake May's game is in the middle of the field. You know, he's a good quarterback, okay, throwing to the middle of the field. You know, throwing the slants, throwing those over-under routes. Those sideline routes, those whip routes, all those kinds of things. And those two receivers run those routes pretty well, but their catch radius is good, meaning the ball doesn't have to be perfectly on them. They'll go get it, like the one Rieger dropped. Okay, in the Commanders game.
But listen, for our fans out there, you don't understand. It was like it was a playoff game, and you're down 4, and you need the first down. Rieger dropped the ball. I said, Chris, he's playing against guys that are going to be serving coffee next week. I get he dropped the ball, but it's meaningless.
But that was the point. Listen, for those of you out there that don't understand, when the game is going on, Mark and I are pretty much on the phone. We just it's as if we're in the same room. He'll call me in full voice, like just right into it. These guys suck. What kind of thing is this? What kind of this collection of stiffs? Oh yeah. But
you thought it was a playoff game Sunday.
Well,
I don't understand it. Yeah.
So that's the situation there. The only thing I'll say about Thornton, okay, the problem that we have right now is because of the different, people say, well, let's keep this receiver, keep that receiver. What people don't understand is these positions are different. The X is a different position than the slot, than the Y. The Y is the
Chris,
tight
you've
end.
mentioned that a few times.
Yeah,
explain
the
to our viewers who aren't sure. What's the X?
Well, the X is the outside receiver. This is the CD Lamb.
Yep.
This is these guys. The Jefferson, the Chase. That's your X receiver, the guy that likes to play on the outside, likes to run the goal routes, likes to get separation, go down the field. That's your X. And you need a guy with speed. But you also need a guy that can get off and get off press and get separation. And Tyquan Thornton's in a prove-it situation because he can't do it. And he's forced to have to get on that field because Baker dropped a few balls and that kind of thing. But I think Baker could do the job. My hope is that it turns into Douglas, Polk, Butte, Baker as the best receivers on this team. That's my hope.
Yeah.
So that's the wide receiver room. Mark, the running backs a little bit. Okay. We haven't talked much about them.
Were you surprised they released Harris?
No, but they got him back.
He's on the practice squad, right?
Practice squad. So I mean, he'll see some time up and down. I think Hasty earned it. I'm okay with that. Who's going to be?
And Jennings, the kid, was it Jermichael Jennings came back too?
No, he got cut. Oh, I think he came back.
I thought they brought him back to the practice squad too, right?
Yeah, he did. Fenwick, I was sad because I was very hopeful for him.
I was hopeful. He just never could get traction. It is what it is.
But Stevenson, Gibson, Hasty, I'm all right with that. I mean, I think Hasty gives you that ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, and you could see just by who they have what they're going to try to do. Under center, play action, short passes.
You might see a lot of 12s.
A lot of check downs. A lot of check downs. A lot of check downs. 12 personnel meaning one back, 2 tight ends.
Chris, we're going to lead the league in 12 personnel again this year. We did last year.
How exciting! How exciting is that to watch? How exciting. It's another reason why we should stay sleeping on Sundays. But anyway, so I'm okay with the running back room, but the offensive line better block for them like a lot better than they did in the preseason, Mark. I mean, Christ, but is there anything in the running back room that, again, you know how I feel about backs,
You can get anybody off the scrap heap, but I think Ramondre Stevenson, Chris, is poised for a big year if he can stay healthy. I don't think he was ever healthy last year, but I think he's poised for a big year, a bounce back year. Which the way this
last year he had a good year. I mean, he was the number one weapon. Which if that happens again, we're in trouble.
Well, he was banged up though, Chris. The second half of the season last year, he really didn't do much at all.
Yeah.
I think, because of the way this offense is constructed, he could have a big year, Chris. He's going to get a lot of utilization.
Yeah.
In different ways. I think he'll be catching the ball out of the backfield as well.
Yeah. So, and going into the tight end room, look, Hunter Henry we knew, Hooper we knew. Your guy, Bell, made this team. And, speak to him a little bit because I like 7th round pick. You liked him.
He was on my board. I had mentioned him as a 7th round pick for the Patriots, and they ended up taking him. Chris, the thing about him on Sunday, they gave him an extended look because I think they wanted to see if he could block.
Yeah.
And I think he proved on Sunday that he can block a bit.
Yeah, it's been a work in
think
progress with him on
it's
the
a work
blocking.
in progress, but I think that's why they kept him, because he definitely, Chris, gives you something out of the backfield at the tight end, off the line of scrimmage as in the passing game as a tight end, Chris, because you could play him almost as an H-back too.
Yeah.
He's versatile in that sense.
He runs away from guys. Look, he's great with the seam routes, crossing routes. He'll win those foot races to the sideline, and that showed up in the practices. So that's what I mean, that's why he made this team. And I think he'll see some significant time. Now, Mark, let's go to the offensive line. All right, let's talk about this situation. And yesterday in CORSO CATONE, we played the soundbite of the of the referee in the Washington Commanders game. Okay. And they had like 7-8 penalties called against them, 4 or 5 illegal procedure calls.
And most of them were in the first half, Chris.
Yes. Against Okafor, where he's lined up wrong, where his helmet needs to be at the belt of the center, and he just kept lining up like the flying V for the Mighty Ducks. That's kind of what it looked like. Well, they're cracking down on that. But they warned him. And then he kept doing it. Yeah. So he did it 5 times. They called 4 of them, to the point where the referee even said, once again, lined up once again. He says it. So, but okay, taking that aside, taking all the penalties out, this is the offensive line. David Andrews, Mike Owinu, Sidney So, Chuck Okafor, Lowe, Layden Robertson, Caden Wallace, Leverett, Michael Jordan. Okay. Pup is going to be Cole Strange. Calvin Anderson's on IR, and the rest of these guys were cut. Murphy got cut. Not surprised. Okay. First of all, let's assume all these guys are healthy. What's the least bad starting group for you?
Well,
I can tell you mine, but I mean,
Chris, I just think that and they're not going to do it. I still think, Chris, I would try Owenu at right tackle. He's not going to play right tackle, and or try him at left. Maybe, I don't know. Who's going to play left tackle? Lowe's going to play left tackle.
Lowe's going to play left tackle
because they're going to have to stick the Trent Brown stiff, because you're comparing him to Trent Brown now.
Okafor.
Okafor,
because
Okafor's
he doesn't want to play left. He doesn't want to play left tackle.
He's going to have to play right tackle.
Yeah, and he's being a baby about it.
Yeah, he is.
He's being a friggin' baby about it, and so he wants to play right tackle. So that's what they're going to do.
Chris, the rookie from Penn State.
Yeah, talking about.
Who we talked about in the draft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wallace, right?
Caden Wallace, yeah.
Well, he showed good early in camp, and then I think he faded a bit because they were possibly projecting him as a starter. I don't think he's going to be a starter now.
Watching him through camp, and we're not there at every practice, but I can tell you this: I was happy with his progress, his footwork, his slide, his ability to read the rush and to read to get to his block on the end, on the wide 9, and be able to slide to it and all that. But he's a rookie. I mean, it's going to take time with him. But I do think he can become a left tackle. I really do.
Because when they drafted him, you weren't sure. You're like, hey, I don't know if he can be a left tackle.
Right tackle, yeah.
But now maybe he can be a left.
So, but I think the way you're going to start out is I think you're going to see Lowe at left tackle. I think you're going to see Robinson, who I'm happy with. He's had his moments. He's had bad moments in games and in camp. But I think he's earned enough to play left guard. Obviously, Andrews. I think Owinu at right guard, and I think Okafor at right tackle. Now, is that an offensive line that it can be okay? I'm not that much on the ledge with these guys. I think it can be worked. Okay, is it great? No, but I think it can be worked up. Depth-wise, they're screwed. They got nothing behind these guys.
No, they have nothing. They went to the waiver wire, Chris, and picked up 2 guys. They picked up somebody from Denver and somebody from the Rams, correct?
Yeah, they picked up Jacobs from the Broncos, and they picked up Thomas from the Rams, just for depth pieces. And these guys play left tackle, though. So we'll see what happens. But that's the offensive real depth chart. That's the breakdown. That's what we got in those rooms. We've gone to bed with better thoughts, but this is what it's going to be. This is your New England Patriots offense with Alex Van Pelt at the helm. Yay, So, but we also want to talk about the defense too. But this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And we come back on a stay in Weekly Rewind, talk some defense, and so much more. No flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with the Pats Nation. Okay, Mark, so we talked offense, we talked the roster. Now let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Everybody thinks that this defense can be a top 10 defense. I think everybody's where you and I began, which was this is not going to be a top 5 defense. Not without Bill.
Now they slid to top 10. I don't even think they're going to be top 10. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, I put them somewhere between 10 and 15.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I think I agree with you. I mean, you said it, you've been saying it all spring. Without Bill, and you can see it show up in the corner room already with Gonzalez.
Yep.
Without Bill saying to these guys, hey, you do this, and you do this, we're going to win the game. Making it easy for them. Who the hell's doing that now? I don't even know if Mayo was calling play. I have no idea if Mayo was even the DC last year, if it was Belichick Jr. there. Stephen Belichick.
If you listen to the extended comments and interview from Mike Lombardi, he basically says Mayo wasn't calling plays.
No. So
who knows?
So now getting to Covington now is the DC, who I like. I think he'll do a good job, but are they going to be good enough to be top 10? I don't know. But let's talk about the defensive front from right off the bat. This is a group that coming in to camp or coming into the season, I thought this is going to be a strength. Then Christian Barmore goes down, or he has the blood clots. Okay, so he goes on IR. But now I think it's the short term. I'm pretty sure it's the short term IR where he can return this season. So he's not done.
Not done.
But we have to expect him to be out for a significant period of time, given what happened last year with who had the clots last year? Was it Andrews?
Well, when Andrews had it, Chris, he was out for the year. Yeah, but he was a couple of years ago, but he was out for the entire year.
Exactly. So we can expect not to see him for quite a long time. So that leave us with Devon Gottschall, Dietrich Wise, Quale, Jeremiah Farms, and Tristan Hill. Okay. Watts is on IR. Roberts was cut. King, Bradley King, Russell, and I don't know, a couple other guys. So, all right. Now they picked up a lot. They picked up Eric Johnson from the Colts just as a depth guy. Mark, the problem with this team is going to be the depth. I'm okay with the top talent, with the top end of what they have here. I'm a little nervous about the size.
Yeah, the line is undersized. They are. There's no depth, and they're undersized. And and the linebackers. Do we got an off the ball linebacker that can go sideline to sideline, Chris?
Well,
like
we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. We'll get to the linebackers in a second. Okay?
I'm just teasing. But here's the thing, Chris. You better hope that Keon White does what you think he's going to do. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that right now. I know he looked good in camp, and everyone's saying he's going to take that next step and become a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He has to, Chris, for them to be between 10 and 15, Chris. He has to take that step, because if he doesn't, they ain't even going to be a 10 to 15 defense.
Well, so looking at those edge guys, because again, losing Barmore also loses pass rush, right?
Yep.
So so number one, we're concerned about the size of the D line stopping the run. Forget playing 2-gap. They're never going to be able to do that. They don't have the size to do it.
I'm surprised, Chris, they didn't reach out to Lawrence Guy to see what he had left in the tank, but I guess they're done with that.
Yeah. But to the pass rush, to your point, I'm again, it's depth issues. Keon White, Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, Jimenez. Okay. I mean, I like Keon White, and I do think he's going to take the jump. I do think this kid could be a borderline Pro Bowler. I honestly believe that. Okay, and so I'm not as concerned about Judon being gone for the top end guys. But what do you do when somebody goes down?
Chris, the kid Jimenez, he needs to get healthy because he was having a real good camp. He looked really good off the edge, Chris, and I think that just came as a complete surprise. I don't think the Patriots thought he was that good. But he's hurt. He didn't play against the Commanders, and that was his MO with the Giants. He had a real good rookie year with the Giants. He looked like, oh, you know what? This kid's going to take off next year. We got a steal here. And then all of a sudden he was hurt every year after that.
Yeah, and they haven't disclosed what the hell the injury is, or to Uche, and that's another guy. He better get back on the field.
So that's an issue, Chris. If those guys aren't ready to roll week one against Cincinnati of all teams, if you don't get pressure on Burrow, it's going to be a long night.
It is. It is. So, and again, you don't have that you don't have that guy in the room. I don't know if you have the guy in the room, and you certainly don't have Bill to scheme up these things for them. So, that's for sure. Okay. So that's your pass rush. That's your defensive front seven. There they are. Not terrible. It's to me one of the strengths of the team, but it's top end strength. I worry completely about the depth. Now, to me, the weakest part of this defense, okay, is the inside linebacking group. Okay. This is what we have. We have Bentley, Tavai, McMillan, and Elias. Okay. Takayaki is on the PUP list. I was surprised they cut Giles Harris.
Yeah, I was surprised too, Chris. He didn't look bad the last couple of games.
Did they? I don't know if they picked him back up. I got to see that.
I got to go back. I got to go back and look at an updated practice squad.
So Taki is on the PUP list now. He's going to miss at least 4 games. He was going to be one of your strong guys in the middle of the field.
He's the free agent they got from Cleveland, Chris. But I don't know if he even saw the field in training camp once.
No. And so it's an issue that we've talked about over and over. And I'm like being Mr. Calm right now because, we got a long season and I got to pace myself. But if you're looking for San Fran's inside linebackers, Greenlaw, okay, and if you're looking for Greenlaw and how's the other Warner, you're not going to find them on this team, okay? Bentley, he's good. He's smart. He's good. He controls the defense. He's going to be fine against the run, all that. But who's the guy, Mark, that's going to pick up these wheel routes? Who's the guy that's going to get sideline to sideline? Who?
Bentley.
Who's off ball? Mapu has gone to the shelf now.
Mapu, Chris, he's another guy. Oh my God, another wasted draft pick. Wasted. It's gonna be Bentley. They said Bentley loves this new.
Oh, they think Tavai. Listen, they think the world of Tavai.
Oh my God,
they think the world of
obsession
Tavai.
is, Chris. What is the obsession? If you look at the tapes, Chris, what is the obsession with this kid Tavai? I'm confused.
All I could tell you is this: in the joint practice with Philly, Saquon Barkley took a wheel route up the sideline. Okay. Right. And Tavai couldn't get there. Not only that, in the Commanders game, okay, against backups, he drops into the low hole coverage in the center of the field. And a player catches a ball right in front of him where he was flat-footed. He couldn't get a kick jump forward, and he looked like he was just standing in quicksand. And there's your off-ball linebacker. So they're in trouble there, Mark. They're in trouble. Okay? That's the biggest problem with this defense.
Chris, listen, but you've been talking about this for how many years now?
Years.
Since
2018.
This isn't just, 2024, 25 season. This is an issue. The year they beat the Rams.
Yeah.
You talked about it. Even we won a Super Bowl, and you were saying, we need an off-ball linebacker. We need an off-ball linebacker. We still need an off-ball linebacker.
So, okay, there's your linebacking core. Brace yourself this season. All right. Now, the next biggest problem that I see on this team is now going into the corner room. Okay. So what you got now in the room is Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones. Okay. Alex Austin, Bolden, Wilson, Dial. Now, Bolden got cut and put back on the practice squad, okay, to make room for some of these other guys.
Yeah.
And who we didn't talk about is they picked up, but getting back to linebackers, they picked up this Curtis Jacobs from the Chiefs, and you thought he may be a pretty decent player, not to go backwards, but
no,
I
he's
forgot
an
to mention
athlete,
him.
Chris. He runs a 4.5 40. Had a good camp with the Chiefs. The Chiefs were hoping he would clear waivers because they absolutely were bringing him back to the practice squad because he had a good camp. Everybody and everything you read on him, Chris, he had a good camp, athletic, can get to the ball. Gee, things we don't have, Chris. So maybe the kid can eventually help you. I mean, obviously he's not going to help you week one, but
talk about
eventually-
grasping it. Just whatever you can find.
Listen, I'm reading up on waiver wire guys. How battered out are we at linebacker? That's how bad our linebackers are.
Yeah, we suck. We do. But the corner room. Now, obviously, Christian Gonzalez, I mean, he's still got a ways to go, but you seem pretty secure with him. Now, the problem we have.
Should be fine over there, Chris.
What we didn't want to have happen is what happened. Is now Jonathan Jones is now going to play the other boundary corner, and we wanted him to play inside because that's his true and natural position. And now he's going to have to go play outside at boundary opposite Gonzalez, and you got Marcus Jones inside, which is fine. I'm good with that. Okay. But after those three guys, what the hell do you have behind them? Alex Austin, Isaiah Bolden, Marco Wilson. These guys got just slaughtered. During some of the camps. Some of them did okay.
My God.
From time to time, but
and Dial, Chris, felt that the rookie we thought would, when they drafted him, we were like, you know what, this kid gets some potential. He had a poor camp.
Yeah,
was over his head.
He's got a lot of upside, but he's developmental.
He does.
He's a guy that's going to take time.
I was surprised, Chris, they didn't release him because he definitely would have cleared, and he was a practice squad guy, but they didn't. I mean, they ended up cutting Wade, who I thought had a better camp than Dial. Not that but they moved on, and that's fine. But yeah, that other corner position, Chris, you're right. If Jonathan Jones doesn't kick out there, I don't know what you got out there.
Yeah. So when you start thinking about this in the sense of who we play against, then you start thinking about the Cincinnati Bengals, and you start thinking about the San Francisco 49ers, and you start thinking about Miami Dolphins twice with those receivers, and you start thinking about the Jets with some of their weapons. You start wondering, how the hell are we going to compete on the outside with the corners? Now, maybe the safeties can make up for some of this because, Mark, I think the last couple of minutes we got left, the safety room, we were concerned about center field safety. Who's replacing McCourty? What do we do about that, right? So this is the room. Kyle Duggar, Peppers, Jalen Hawkins, Schooler, and Pettis, okay? Mapu is considered that box safety. He's on IR, and they cut Bledsoe, which, I'm fine with.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I will say this. I was pleased with Pettis, the lone undrafted free agent to survive the cutdowns. This was him. And I thought he played well at times. I thought he'd be okay for a depth piece if they got to get him in the game. But he played well covering tight ends, shorter zones, half the field, like he's playing a cover two is half the field. He was pretty good in that. Center field, no. But I could tell you this. Jalen Hawkins is probably going to be your center field safety along with Peppers. That single high safety.
Are you confident in that?
I am.
You're okay with him playing over there?
I thought Hawkins had a pretty good camp. I think he'll do okay there. The only problem is if you put him and Peppers on the field together, what do you do with Duggar? Duggar, so these guys are going to fight for time because you're going to want Duggar down low. You're going to want him as your off safety, not your free. Okay. And so I think Peppers and Hawkins. So, and even Schooler for depth piece, I thought did well in camp. So
Schooler surprised me, Chris.
We thought he was a cartoon character, but you know what? I think after all said and done, I think he played well. So again, there's some good bright points for the defense, but not enough of them to make them top. Certainly not top 5. They'd have to play really well to get into the top 10 mark.
So. Yeah. Oh, I think they would. Yeah. Absolutely.
So there are your
Hey, Chris, the schedule is working against them because it's tough.
It is tough. It is tough. And you don't have Bill anymore. You don't have Bill. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are your 2024 New England Patriots. Hey, let's get going.
Woo, let's go. Super Bowl.
So, good stuff. Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO CATONE, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. We get Catone's comments, Yankees, Red Sox. Make sure you subscribe and give us that thumbs up. But hey, when we come back, we're going to go into Pat's preview. And guess what we're going to do, Mark?
Maybe preview the Pats schedule?
We are going to preview the schedule, and we're going to give you our picks, the three of us. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, CORSOLawGroup.com.
Okay, Mark, we're going into Pat's preview. We're going into this season. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've given our picks, was it twice?
We've given them a couple of times. We gave them early in the spring when the schedule got released, and then we did them towards the end of like the middle of
when
training
they started
camp,
training camp.
And now we've seen them for an extended period of time, and we're going to try it again.
Now, I have this master sheet.
He takes out this sheet, Joe, all the time, Joe.
I have the master sheet to tell us how we've changed. I didn't give it to these guys. I didn't give it back to these guys, so they don't remember. I know,
Joe, it's like a trick, Joe. It's like a trick.
I know he has no idea, but we got to get to it. So let's do it. Let's start. Here we go. So, week 1 at Cincinnati. Gentlemen?
Cincinnati by 4 to 5 touchdowns.
Okay. That's a loss then, I take it?
Loss.
Yes.
Loss. Okay, that didn't change. Just so you know, that didn't change. All right, now we come home to Seattle. Oh, by the way, we're losing against Cincinnati because of all the reasons we talked about. I mean, they're just too good. I mean, defensively, offensively, and every other way, and you're on the road. But go ahead. And they're a dysfunctional mess right now, organizationally, the Patriots. But go ahead. Seattle at home.
Loss.
Okay, new coaching staff for the Seahawks. New coaching staff.
Loss.
There's nothing, huh? You think you think Geno Smith is
I don't.
But he's better now.
But Chris, he does all right when he's healthy, but he gets hurt by like week 3. I just think with those receivers, we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, so you got it as a loss, Joe. What do you have?
I have it a loss.
Okay,
I'm at a loss.
What do you have, Chris?
Both of you. I'm gonna give them their first win.
Oh, get out of here!
You swore. Come on.
I'm gonna give them their first win. By the way, you two flipped.
I know that one. I knew, and I was like, yeah. Let me give
Listen
him a loss.
Listen to me. I'm just gonna tell you something.
I'm just trying to be positive. I don't really think they're gonna win that.
I
really don't think they're gonna win that game.
If DK Metcalf goes off in that game, I'm gonna have to talk my son off the ledge.
He wanted to drive. I remember he actually threw something at the TV screen when they picked N'Keal Harry over him.
DK Metcalf.
All right, so I got it. I'll keep it as a win. The hell with it. You two have it as
and
losses.
then Joe, Chris said, but I like that pick. He told my son. He's all right. I'm okay with
You know
that.
what? Stop it.
He said, I'm okay
Stop
with
it.
that pick. He said.
Shut up. Joe, I swear to God, I'm going to quit. Quit before the season even friggin' begins. Stop saying that crap. You get everybody to think, I can't stand it anymore. I've been listening to that for 5 years. What is it, 4 years? Whatever the hell it is. Leave me alone. All right.
This is why they tune in to CORSO and Catone.
At the New York Jets on Thursday night. The only night game that we have.
Lost.
Just give the next 3 a loss.
Okay, we all have it as a loss. Aaron Rodgers is going to make this, They're gonna look.
Yeah,
They're gonna
it's
make.
gonna look
And I think
silly.
Jacoby Brissett's gonna get sacked about 64 times in this game.
That might be the game Brissett gets hurt in, Chris.
I hope. I hope not, because I don't want to see.
I
Drake
hope
May
not,
soon.
but that could be because the Jets have a real good front, Chris. A real good front.
Okay, so nothing changed there for us. Now at
No.
San Fran, I can't even get it out without laughing my ass off. Okay.
Our first win is gonna come at San
Yeah.
Fran.
Okay.
No.
I've already penciled in the L's for both of you.
Loss.
Okay. Well, plus Joe's a San Fran fan, so I mean, he still thinks
He's still
Montana's the best
he's
quarterback.
still wearing his Joe Montana shirt. The only reason it's a belly shirt now, but
He
he's
still wants
wearing
to. He still wants.
belly shirt. Montana.
Like half shirts of the 80s.
Yeah, the half shirts in the 80s. Yeah.
It's like a tube top, you know. That's just good. Yeah, I mean, for all the reasons. I mean, defensively, that team's just going to get after it. Those two inside linebackers is not going to let those tight ends breathe, and forget anything out of the back.
It's going to be ugly. That's going to be
It's
ugly.
going to be really ugly. Imagine what. But do you imagine what McCaffrey is going to do to our inside linebackers?
I hope Ayuk is back playing by then for San Fran, so we can see what we could have had.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
know?
That's going to be a fun day watching that game. Okay, so now we come home to the Dolphins. Miami.
Loss.
Yeah. Why, Mark? Quickly. Why is it a loss? Why can't we beat them? I mean, do we even have to?
Listen, you know what's going to happen to the other side of the corner room?
One more game.
Opposite of Gonzalez, they're going to get scorched.
Especially the middle of the field. All right, loss. Okay, nothing changed. Houston Texans.
I'll be at that game, by the way. I
know.
think. Yes.
They're going to win? Well, they're
Loss.
definitely going to lose then if you're there.
Loss.
But you're like poison. How about you, Joe?
This is where I changed because the next game I feel is I actually remember putting that down as the game that Drake May comes in. That part of the season. But I'm wondering, like what Mark said earlier about Brissett getting hurt like 3 games earlier. I'm like, oh man, I think he might come in week 6.
So is it a win or a loss?
Win. I think it might be a win.
So you didn't change. You kept it the way it was. I thought you were going to change. All right.
For reasons, though.
All right. At Jacksonville. He gives more analysis than us, though. Pretty good. Anyway, at Jacksonville.
I'm going to switch win.
You had it as a win.
Oh, did I? Thought I had it as a loss. Win.
Win for who? Mac Jones?
Yeah, right.
No,
how about you, Joe?
That's got to be a win for us.
You didn't change. And I am changing my vote to a loss. I had it as a win, and they're going to lose that game.
Wow.
Because I think the receivers are better than people think down there.
Oh, they got my rookie from LSU down there, Chris.
Right. You know, and so, I think we're going to have a problem moving the ball because I like their linebackers too, by the way. And I think they have a decent pass rush. Okay. So now we come home to the Jets.
Lost.
This is where this is the game where you're going to start hearing, we want Bill. We want Bill.
Yeah.
This is the game you're going to start hearing that. Because so far, Mark, you got him at 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 7 at this point.
Chris, listen,
we all have him at. Well, Joe has him at 2 and 6.
I think that's the game you start hearing. We want Drake, not Bill.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah. Fine. But at some point in the season, you're going to be hearing that we want Bill.
Yeah.
This is going to get ugly. Okay. So for the same reasons we said before, why the Jets would win, they'll win again at Tennessee.
I think we come out with a win.
Win.
I had it as a loss before, and I'm going to keep it as a loss. I'm going to keep it as a loss because it's a road game. See, now you have to start thinking about when they're on the road, home teams will win their home games. You know what I mean? That kind of nonsense. So I'm going to keep it as a loss. Okay? There's a loss. All right. At Chicago.
Loss.
Yeah. Loss.
Okay.
By the way, that kid Caleb Williams ain't bad.
And you changed, by the way. Shut up. You Joe, you changed. You had it as a win. Now you have it as a loss.
Yeah, for those reasons that you just mentioned with the back at home and coming back and having those scenarios, I had them at some wins, but now some of these games, especially with the Brissett injury, now it's all off. Everything's off.
Caleb Williams looked pretty damn good, Mark, in preseason.
And that too.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, all right. You know, I'm not going to give you.
Well,
I'm not going to give it.
saying anything. I said I know. I'm not saying a word.
I'm not going to give it to you yet until he does it in the regular season.
All right,
okay?
I'm not saying.
No,
a
but you know
word.
what? I can see your face right now, and you already got that smart ass jerk face on, like you're going to stick it up my. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Right
my
there, there it is.
God.
He's got that He's got that Catone's comment face on, Joe.
No, I do not. Listen, please.
So okay, all right. So now we come home to the Los Angeles Rams. What say you?
Loss.
Yeah, you
I
had it
say
as a
we
loss
need a
before.
win right there, and we're gonna get one.
You had that as a win before, Joe. I don't know how the hell.
What about
do
you?
that.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, loss. I mean, you know,
That's
a damn talented offense you're going against, and a
they're
pretty
real
damn
talented.
good defense.
Yeah.
You know,
which is why it's a loss for them. For us, it's a win because that's the thing. Those games,
What the hell kind of sense does that make?
it's weird. I can't explain it, but those games always happen like that. And Los Angeles should come rolling in, kill us, but then we win by a field goal. And it's
All right.
All
Okay.
At Miami, come on, we got to speed this up.
Loss.
At Miami,
Loss.
loss.
for the same reasons. I can't imagine what Tyreek Hill and Waddle are going to do against the middle of that field. Oh my God. Okay. Indianapolis Colts, and this is wait a minute. Have we already passed? Yeah, we already passed the overseas game. That was Jacksonville, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Where's
You
the
know, I
Colts
forgot
game?
about
Chris,
that.
where's the Colts game?
I may change that to a win. The Colts game is home.
It's gonna be a win for me.
I may change the Jacksonville vote, but now that I remember that it's
I'm
an
going to give
overseas-
us a win against the Colts, Chris.
Okay. You had it as a win before. Joe had it as a loss. Now he's got it as a win. He's all over the place. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Switching it up.
Okay, hold on.
Drinking the tone water.
I also have it as a win. Okay. That was his win. All right.
Next week is a win.
Okay. Now they go on the bye, and now they go to Arizona. What do you
That's
think?
gonna be a win on the bye.
Loss.
Yeah, Joe, you're changing from a loss to. Oh, you have it as a loss too, Joe? I thought you should win.
No. I'm talking about week 14.
Chris, my only caveat to all this, can I put an asterisk down
Quickly.
that if Drake May comes in week 8 or 9, he could catch fire and spark them, and maybe a couple of these games become wins. Not a lot, but a couple of these games, I think if he's quarterback and it sparks them over Brissett, they may win some of these games.
Yeah, I'll say that too. But given the roster the way it is now,
Yep.
this
I'm going
is
to
what we
say
have to go with.
Arizona's a loss.
So we'll put that asterisk there. Okay. Now, Buffalo. Okay, so we go to Buffalo, and 2 weeks later we're
Loss.
home to Buffalo. So
Loss,
both
loss.
of those games.
Loss.
Now, I will. Joe, you too.
Loss,
Both of those?
win.
I will
So-
say I think the game in New England will be close. And I
Yeah.
think Buffalo pulls it out late because I think Buffalo's going to regress this year. I don't think Buffalo's going to be as good as people think they are, but I still got it down as 2 losses.
I have it. I have the same idea, except I think it's going to be closer in Buffalo than it is in New England.
Okay.
You know. All right, and then last one is the Chargers, and that one's home.
I'm gonna take a win. An LA beatdown this season.
All right,
I'm
so Joe,
only gonna say win because I can't stand Harbaugh.
you changed from a loss to a win. I got it as a loss because I don't think people realize how good that team is, talent wise.
Yeah, they're good.
And how good Herbert is. All right, real quick, because we gotta go. So let me count these up. All right. Well, it's easier to do the wins. So I got it at 2 and 15. That's me. Mark, you got 1, 2, 3. You got 4 wins, Mark.
All right.
4 and 13. Right. And Joe, you got 1, 2,
Joe's
3,
got
4,
9.
5, 6. Joe's got 7 wins here.
Joe's in the Wizard of Oz. He's in the middle of the Wizard
So
of Oz.
honestly, it
Right,
didn't change. 7 and 10, 4 and 13, 2 and 15. Those are our picks, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So let us know what you think at Heated Hotline. I got them at 2 wins. I had them at 3. This team's gonna suck. Okay. And they're going to have the first pick in the draft. Mock my words. So the Pats Nation was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel, Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Hey, make sure you come back next week, 8 to 9 a.m. We're going to have our preview of that Cincinnati Bengals game, all the analysis, everything you're going to want to know. So make sure you tune back in. We are the Pats Nation. See you next Sunday.